And I hope the work that I just did in breakout groups stayed. Oh, good. Whew. Oh, all right. So, oh, well, happy belated Valentine's Day. So I tried to theme it up a little bit there, using my time wisely, right? As usual, keep your cameras on. We want to interact with you. We want to see you. But during our time together, be sure to mute. And if you want to talk, use the chat box. Oh, will be removed from the meeting. Oh, okay. Just use the chat box or raise your hand. And but this meeting will be recorded. And hopefully by now you guys are all familiar with all the bells and whistles down there. All right, so this is what's happening today. We're talking about the 4 impact foundations. So we're getting ourselves set up with everything in place that we need in order to start this venture into Main Street or strengthen our venture that we're currently in. So we're going to start off with a little reflection on the last 30, how things went with the homework and so forth. And then the rest of the 45 minutes of this first hour will be with the Center for Nonprofit Excellence. We have both Cindy Colson and Katie Davis that are going to be here. Cindy and Katie, are you guys in the audience?
Hi, Kyle. This is Katie. I'm here.
Right on, Katie. Good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm not sure Cindy's joined yet, but she's on her way.
I bet she is. I bet she is. At noon, we're going to take about a 10-minute break because 2-hour meeting is painful, and we want to break that up and make sure you get all everything that you need to stay fresh and focused. The second half, we'll be talking about the vision and the values. And then last 15 minutes, essentially, we'll be talking about what happens over the next 30 days. So just so I get an idea of everyone that is here. So who do we have from Colonial Beach? I see Susan. Just go ahead and unmute and say, hey, Susan's here. Hey, Eric's here.
Hey, Susan's here.
Awesome. Oh, good. You guys are in the same. Awesome. Good. And I see Jeff, so I'm going to let that go. How about Clarksville? Who do we have from Clarksville today?
Good morning. We've got Tara, Pat, and Heather, and then Jeff is live via satellite.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. How about Buena Vista?
Hi, it's Brooke and Dan Dickman today.
Brooke and Dan. Thank you. And then how about Covington?
Paul's here.
Right on, Paul. Good to
Julie's
see you.
here.
And Julie.
And Terry.
All right. All right. How about Big Stone Gap?
Hey, you've got Ted, Wendy, and Malia.
Ted, Wendy, and Malia. Love it. All right. In Petersburg, who do we have today?
Sergey, you have me. I was looking for Delaney. I don't know if he's gotten on.
Okay.
I spoke to him just before this meeting started, but he was planning to be on, but I don't see him.
Well, we hope he can show up later on. That'd be great. How about Galax?
Right. Yes. We have Justin and myself in the room, and then
I'm here.
Patty's on the phone.
Awesome. Thank you. And then Martinsville.
Kyle?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Debbie. I joined the meeting and was happily in there, and then all of a sudden I got a dismiss message. So now I'm accessing the phone. So I don't know what the issue is, but I am here.
Bizarre. Could you try again? I don't know what happened. I got a message that said someone is leaving the meeting. So I don't.
Yeah, I was kicked out.
Oh, bizarre. Have you tried to get back?
Yeah, I did. I tried to rejoin, and it gave me another message. It just kind of buffered. It didn't do anything. So
well,
I'm on the phone.
Okay, Debbie.
How do I unmute now on the phone here? Do you know what?
That is like *6. I can mute
that
you.
Yeah, okay, you go ahead. Yeah, you,
Okay.
you mute me now. I know
I'll
how to
mute you.
unmute. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. And then, did I get through Martinsville?
No, I don't think so, but this is
Okay.
Liz. Liz is here, and I see that Beverly and Rob are here. I'm not sure if
Bev
anyone
and
else.
Rob. Okay, cool. Well, that's good. 3's our target. Hilton Village.
Hey there, everybody. It's JB. I just wanted to say I got the same dismiss as well. So I'm on phone, but I'm logging back in through computer.
Okay.
And Megan Adams is here, and we have another board member, Melissa Kennedy, joining after her meeting wraps.
Megan, Melissa. All right, cool. And then Phoebus. Who do we got?
You've got Dominique DeBose. My other members couldn't make it today.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Dominique. All right. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. That'll be 3, 2. Okay. That'll make it a little easier when I start splitting this up. All right. All right. Last 30. So we had this little homework assignment. You had to watch a video about how to use that nonprofit business model. So the Canvas, that's just like what you would see as an entrepreneur for business startup, except it's oriented towards small nonprofit startups. So we're just using that as a tool to help guide our thinking as we assemble an organization or make improvements to it, making sure that we have a business model. And so we're in the early stages of doing that right now. Of course, understanding who our stakeholders are and why we exist and what we're planning to do with our mission in the future. So we're in those early stages, just understanding the why. So related to that, you watch the Simon Sinek video, start with why, and then started chipping away at this mission, vision, and values worksheet. And of course, that are just drafts. So as long as you chipped away at that and worked at it and thought it through, that's your first stab at it. So you did well. And then always remember that to reach out to your Main Street, Virginia Main Street representative or your program administrator for assistance. So that's your mentor as you move through all this stuff. All right. Let's see. So what we're getting into today is really the mission statement. We're going to spend a little time on just discussing the why. The vision statement we'll talk about later on, where you want to go, where you want the downtown to be, what you want the organization to do in the future, and then the values are how you're going to behave along that journey. What your behaviors, your interactions, how you all will represent your mission. Those are your values. Those are three very pivotal, foundational statements, information to help guide the rest of the work that you'll be doing. Of course, in the Canvas, you worked on your stakeholders. Who are they? Who are you going to be creating value? And so that could be anything as close to home as the property owners and the business owners, of course, but it's going to expand out to your local government and maybe your county, some of those secondary beneficiaries of the work that you do. But then the social value proposition, that really gets to your why your organization exists. So what kinds of programs and services will we deliver? Now, you're not going to know that to any detail, but you might have an idea of the kinds of things that you will do based on Main Street, the beautification of bringing the community together. And so those organizational aspects. So that can help you out with that value proposition. What challenges are we trying to solve? Or out, being the appreciative inquiry dude, what are the opportunities for growth? So you might recognize there's some areas that are a little rough, need some help. Well, those are opportunities for growth. And then what value do you deliver to the stakeholders? What kinds of changes will you help make? And so that lends itself right into the mission statement. Why does your organization exist? How does your organization fulfill its purpose? What does your organization do? So here's a really good example. We believe our town can be the most vibrant rural market in the Southeast, a place where everyone can realize their dreams. To make that happen, we create a vibrant commercial district, a beautiful and safe place where people shop, work, play, and enjoy life every day. So that describes the why, the how, and the what. What are we expecting from all this? And this is a really good example of Harrisonburg Downtown Renaissance. We had our retreat last week with all the executive directors of our designated communities. And Andrea Dono, executive director of Harrisonburg Downtown Renaissance, shared with me this rack card. And there's a copy of it in this particular modules folder in our shared Google Drive. So our mission is to build a downtown where businesses thrive and people enjoy memorable experiences. They call out their why front and center. We believe everyone deserves a special place that they connect with as the heart of their community. And their how do they do that? Community festivals and events, small business assistance, destination marketing, beautification, and other special projects. So at this point, I just want to get a feel for, what have you learned over the last 30 days while performing, your homework? What are some of the things that came to mind? What did you learn from this? And we don't have a lot of time to do this, but I'd love to hear in a little popcorn style, a few answers about that. Who'd like to start? Anyone? Galax, you're first on my list.
So I think that what we learned is that it is a popcorn style, but that one or two kernels typically are similar across all people. So for us, we're very proud of our city and our heritage here, especially our Appalachian heritage. And the family type atmosphere that we enjoy.
That's good. I can't wait to see what you came up with your mission and vision statements. That's great. How about Susan Mack?
It's Eric Nelson.
Eric's going to do it. You go for it, and everyone that's Colonial Beach.
Yeah. So the thing that I learned or was super helpful was the video about the guy talking about Apple and their mission statement, and I thought it was super interesting to see the mission statement from a different perspective, to get people engaged immediately by talking about the why first, and then the how and so forth afterwards. I think sometimes we get bogged down into too many messages, too much detail, and don't get people jazzed up from the get-go about what it is that we're doing.
Yeah, I hear you. And as he said, people get motivated by the why. You really got to connect to their heart first, and so that they understand what you're trying to accomplish. That's great. Anyone else want to add to that? Feel free to raise your hand.
Hi, this is Liz from Martinsville.
Awesome.
I would say what's been particularly helpful for me has been the core value exercise. We had, as an organization, we have a mission and a vision, but we hadn't really looked specifically at our core values. And it led me to go back to our board retreat last summer, where we had Zachary Whitlow come on site and talk with board members around their points of pride. And so it kind of led me back to some kind of foundational work we've done already that we'd left behind. So I think that gives us an opportunity to help inform more of our work moving forward. And in particular, a few values that I hadn't thought about that have really kind of transformed our journey, at least over the last 6 months in particular, have been perseverance, adaptability, and optimism.
That's great. Those are wonderful ones. Very powerful in Main Street. And we'll talk a little bit more about those values. And I will fully admit, I've been working with values very much over the years with our Main Street organizations. But this is something from working with the Center for Nonprofit Excellence that is really integral. It's one of those, guiding understanding, awareness of the work that you're doing. And so it's down there at the foundational piece. And I think that'll make even doing Main Street a little bit easier when everybody's on board with how they're going to behave as they pursue this mission. Let's see, Julie, real quick, and then we need to move on to our next segment.
I was just going to add that when I compiled all of our thoughts together, we started with the mission, the vision, and the core values. I worked it backwards and started with core values and then did mission and worked it that way. The core values were incorporated into the vision and the mission.
Julie, that's a great idea. And you know, you all work this in a way that speaks to you, that helps you get to the result that best represents what you're trying to accomplish. So Julie, I absolutely support your, you know, creative license in approaching a lot of this stuff. You all have to be happy with it. This isn't you won't be graded, you know, there's no test. Really, you're fulfilling your mission, and seeing the results is your test right there. And so you got to have some really good ones that speak to people as far as your values, mission, and your vision. So that's great. Well, at this point, you know, there's going to be plenty of time to talk, but I really want to get into our you know, the heart of why we're meeting today, and that is getting to that why. And so Center for Nonprofit Excellence, our partners are going to help you dig into that a little bit further. There might be something you haven't thought of, and so I'm going to pass the torch to them. And meanwhile, feel free, both Cindy and Katie, to take your time, because I gotta sort everybody into their breakout groups. I'm going to be doing that while you're doing your thing. So
sounds good. Thank
sound
you.
good?
All
Yeah.
right. Thanks, Kyle. Hi, everyone. I'm Katie Davis with the Center for Nonprofit Excellence. And before we get into the why activity, I'm just going to talk a little bit about who CNE is before we're delving into our institutional membership program and how it can support your work. I'm going to talk about a few key things to know about the program, CNE membership, and member benefits, and then see if you have any questions for me. And I have a question for you all about what's top of mind, and we can briefly explore the kind of CNE program services and resources that would be responsive. So Kyle has shared this one pager on membership, which has links to what we'll be discussing, as well as our contact info, so you can be in touch. So just briefly, CNE, we were founded nearly 20 years ago because we believe that nonprofits and organizations working to make our lives better, like Main Street organizations, are essential to the health, quality of life, well-being of any community. So we at CNE are a champion, learning partner, advisor for Virginia nonprofits. And as a nonprofit ourselves, we are in it with you and learning alongside of you. So I know I just said nonprofit a number of times there, and you do not need to be an official 501c3 to be a member of or work with CNE. We work with many organizations who are not 501c3s, making their communities better, as well as organizations who are in the process of seeking 501c3 status. So how do we do the work? We offer thought partnership, resources, workshops, trainings, as well as connections amongst our members. So we are a member-driven community resource and are honored that Virginia Main Street, Advancing Main Street, and Mobilizing Main Street communities are all members of CNE through our institutional membership program, which kicked off in 2018. So we now have 5 years of working alongside of each other, iterating and learning together. So in short, you can think of us as a nonprofit help desk whose mission is to save you time and energy so you're not having to recreate the wheel. So as questions are coming up, or you're hitting roadblocks, or thinking of things that could be helpful as it relates to nonprofit management, whether it's professional development, learning opportunities, you're seeking a specific resource or someone to brainstorm with, or just wondering what other organizations are doing around an issue, we can be a resource in addition to the incredible Main Street support that you already have. So a few real life examples over the last year of our membership program of how we've worked with and supported Main Street communities. We've shared board roles and responsibilities and led a training on the topic at a board meeting. We've shared sample board codes of conduct and sample conflict of interest policies, and thought through how to navigate a potential conflict, thought through ways of demonstrating financial transparency, and shared the names of potential bookkeepers and CPAs, shared resources on the roles of committees, as well as resources on starting a nonprofit and attorneys who could help support with that startup. I'll pause there to see if there are any questions before I talk about kind of key things to know about the membership program and member benefits. No. All right, so a few key things to know. So through our institutional membership program, you all are invited to join CNE as a member at no cost, which I know a few of you already have, and I see some familiar faces on the screen, which is great. For those who have not yet joined, I know Kyle has shared information on how to do that. Just go to our membership page, select that you're a Virginia Main Street affiliate, and fill out your organizational profile. Membership is organizational. So when you all are a member, everyone affiliated with your organization, volunteers, board staff, if you have them, all members and receive member benefits. The best way to stay up to date, I would encourage you to subscribe to our newsletter, check out our website. There's a link on this one pager. So what are those specific member benefits here on this one pager, or what I would say the most used amongst Main Street communities? I would say the top is that no cost technical assistance support. What does that mean? Technical assistance addresses a specific question. We can share resources, tools, templates, activities to address that question. We can also be a thinking partner and help brainstorm with you. So this is the nonprofit help desk member benefit I referenced earlier. Also CNE on-site trainings and more in-depth trainings would be outside that no-cost technical assistance and charged at the discounted membership rate of $100 an hour when conducted by CNE staff. Depending on the topic and CNE staff availability, we can help connect with experienced and vetted consultants. For example, we provided a Main Street community with strategic planning consultants, another organization with potential DEI consultants who provided an organizational assessment and recommendations. Those no-cost board education sessions, it's 30 minutes of content and discussion during a regularly scheduled board meeting, some core topics like roles and responsibilities, discounted membership rates on programs and trainings, and there's a host of other member benefits that you can check out on our webpage. So with that, are there any questions about CNE, about membership? No. All right, and a question for you all. Is there anything that's top of mind? If you want to throw out a topic, we can explore the kinds of CNE services, programs that are responsive. And if not, that is totally understandable, as I know you all are kicking off. No? All right. Cindy, is there anything I missed?
I don't think so, Katie. You covered a lot of information. So this is Cindy Olson, also with me. So this is a quiet group. How is it we can have 30 people and you guys are so quiet?
Yeah, it's easy to settle in the background, isn't it?
Well, as I said, my name is Cindy Colson. I'm with the Center for Nonprofit Excellence. And although you all did not have any specific questions about how CNE could help, we actually did create an activity here looking at the theory of change. So if you haven't yet encountered that term, you will, as you are pursuing grant opportunities, be asked about your theory of change or your logic model. It's not uncommon for funders to say, so you exist to do what? What is the impact that you're trying to have? This exercise that we have in this chart here before you is called the 5 whys. And you'll see there at the top, you start with, why does your organization exist? And this is what Kyle's doing. He's going to put you onto groups with those that are with your community. And you're going to start with, why do you exist? And then you will ask yourself, well, why is that important? You're going to respond to that. And then you're going to do it again. Why is that response important? And yet again, why is that response important? We're going to go drilling down into your organization because we want to get to that truly fundamental why. That Simon Sinek that you guys watch, we love, by the way, at CNE also, is getting to this fundamental why. We're going to dive deep into that. So Kyle, I'm going to just check with you. How are we with forming our groups?
Oh gosh, I think I got it.
Oh,
I think I got
sweet.
it. I've already forgotten. The person that's calling in, the 336 number, what is your, what's the community you represent? I can't remember who it is.
I'm with Galax.
You're Galax. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm Galax. I'm about ready to drive down to the office where they are.
Are you? Okay. All right. So if you get booted for some reason, hopefully you'll be able to connect with them. All right. So that's group 7.
You can unmute me now.
Okay.
Or mute me.
You got it. You got it. Done. Okay, so I think we're ready to go in their group. So they're not going to be able to see this, I don't think, in the meeting.
Okay.
So
think of 4 whys. So your first
yeah.
why is going to be, why does your organization exist? For many of you, that will be the mission statement that you've created for many of you. And then I'm going to ask you after that to ask why. So again, state your mission statement. Why is that important? You'll have that response. Third, why is that important? We're going to do this drill down for a total of 5. And we want to see where you guys land on this. So we're going to come back and there'll be a couple of shout outs for that popcorn of those of you that feel comfortable sharing information about the exercise. Any questions before we divide you into your communities?
And Dominique, since you are alone today, do you want to just stay in the big room with some of the Virginia Main Street folks maybe? Or Cindy, are you okay with moving in there and working with Dominique? Okay, then let me do that real quick. Where are you? I know I see your name. There you are.
And Kyle, how much time do they have?
Well, it is 11:30 right now. You have until, it looks like Dominique, did you jump out? Oh no. Okay. Let's see. It is 11:30. You have until, what did I say? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So until noon. So do you want to do this for 10, 15 minutes?
Yeah, let's do it for 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay. Oh, and Dominique came back. She blipped out for a moment. Okay, let me just double check. Looks like we got everybody where they're supposed to be. And all right. And it's set for 10 minutes. No, it isn't. That's 10 rooms. Let's do 10 minutes. I'm getting there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 10. Okay, y'all ready? Here we go. 10 minutes.
All right, we'll see you back in 10 minutes, guys.
Thank you.
Diversity.
Okay.
Ooh,
Excellent.
wonderful.
All right.
So
So
is
I think
everyone back?
everybody's back. Yeah, everybody should have been back. I mean, it just launches you out. As soon as it's over, mid-sentence, Google Meets doesn't care.
Brings
You're
you back to
done.
purpose. I love it. I'm eager to hear what were some, as you guys are going through the 5 whys, if we could get some of the communities to share. If you're willing to share, what was the experience? Did you find was it easy to do? Were there some moments when it was challenging? And then where did you land in that final why?
Jeff Crook.
So it ended up being, I'm a terrible abstract thinker, so I went into this with a lot of trepidation, but it came together very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So just, and Susan and Eric chime in if my notes, I shared my screen and we looked at our mission statement and then pulled stuff from there and also identified gaps in the mission statement. So the first level of why we exist is to promote and advocate for downtown revitalization. And the why we do that is because we believe that this town has potential to become even more vibrant, welcoming, etc. Why do we think that? Because we love town, we want to share it, and love the town and want to share it because of the people. This is the 4th level.
Yeah.
It's the people sense of community and connection among the people. And then 5, why do we? Where does that sense of community comes from? We have this, as Eric said, a vortex of people from all walks of life. It's a diverse town with people with a lot of different backgrounds.
I love it. Thank you. We're gonna use several different examples, and I'm gonna come back to cite some things. Is there another community that'd be willing to share?
Dan Dickman, it's all you.
So our community in Buena Vista has really been stagnant for, quite a few years. We had a couple floods back in the 80s that really pushed out a lot of businesses in our town. And so our biggest why in creating the Main Street program is to be a voice for our community. feel like a lot of our community members don't feel like there's every progress or somebody that's hearing them, and taking in their input and making changes to the community. And so our biggest why is to be a voice for that and to actually move the community forward and accomplish them.
Excellent. So that voice was the part that was really the ultimate why.
It is, yes.
Love it. Thank you, Dan. Another community.
And feel free to, start off with saying your community and then, start answering the question. So let's see, I'm going to start calling on people. How about Petersburg? Who wants to talk for Petersburg?
Why don't we ask Beverly? Because I got kicked out before they finished.
Yeah, you had a little bit of technical issues in there, I understand. Beverly, are you here? Are you able to talk a little bit about that?
Maybe she's on mute.
No. Maybe.
Yeah,
Oh, there you are.
Awesome. All right, Petersburg, Main Street, Petersburg. As you know, Kyle and Cindy knows that Petersburg was one of the first Main Street programs back in '86, I believe, was when we got the designation. And we graduated out of the program. And so there's been many, many years that there has not been any attention to downtown. So we decided that it was time to have more attention to downtown, to bring people back into the downtown, revitalize downtown, and encourage not only coming back to why it was, because at one point downtown was the center of Petersburg. I mean, you came to downtown to shop, you came to eat, you came to pay your bills at City Hall. Everything was downtown. So that was one of the whys. We wanted to bring people back into downtown and revitalize. And the reason that we wanted to bring them back into downtown and revitalize is because a new set of people coming to town due to the employment at Fort Lee, and they were having the opportunity to live downtown, which had not been happening in the past. So multiple buildings were coming back on the tax rolls because the upstairs floors were being converted into apartments. So now we have apartment living residents in downtown and no activities for them to really do. So the next why was to give them, we wanted to give them something to do. We had people who could support downtown businesses. So we wanted to get that started again. And the reason that we wanted to get that started again is because we had multiple places that were closed down and not in use. And this new population gave a market to new businesses into downtown.
Excellent. Thanks, Beverly.
Who's eager to go next? Tara, you raised your hand.
Good morning. Reporting in from Clarksville on the Lake in Clarksville, Virginia. Why does your organization exist? We believe that we're a catalyst to guide, support, promote, and improve the economic health and cultural vibrancy of historic downtown Clarksville for the present and the future community. So we kind of just started there. And why is that important? We have multiple organizations that are already doing wonderful things, lots of great volunteers, but it seems like everyone is working in silos. And we thought that joining and be part of the Main Street program could give us structure so that we can create a cohesive environment for all of these silos to work together. And then we said, well, why is that important? Well, we want to increase awareness so that we're an ambassador and a hub for all of these organizations. And why is this important? This will improve the economic health and cultural vibrancy of historic downtown Clarksville, which essentially is our aim.
Mhm. Love it. Thank you. Hey, Tara, is there one more that'd be willing to share? Dominique.
Yeah, Dominique.
So I'm with the Phoebus Partnership in Hampton, Virginia, and our organization exists. I have my notes here, and actually, probably Colson can probably.
Oh no, Dominique, you froze. You froze. You were doing so good. Are you gonna come back? Let's give her a moment. Okay. How about City? Is there until Dominique returns from her frozen state? Do you want to take one more?
Sure, that'd be great.
Who would like to go next? So let's see. Who has not talked? Let's see. Hilton Village. I'm still frozen. No. Oh, you just unfroze. Dominique, I'm sorry. Hilton Village, you want to hold off and let Dominique finish? I'm sorry.
Fine.
A little herky-jerky here. Yeah. Dominique, are you ready?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, I'll speak fast. I've been having technical issues. We exist for the purpose of revitalization and the economic and social vitality of the Phoebus area of Hampton, Virginia. And this is important because of the small businesses and residential community that we have. And that's important for the overarching health of the city of Hampton, which we are a part of, but then also our own independence as a small community. And that's important to our identity as a Munich Arts and Cultural District, a historic hub, all of those things that encompass the identity of our community. So that was a very short and quick version of all of those things.
Yes. Great. Thank you, Dominique. That was perfect.
Did you want me to jump in, Kyle?
Yeah, Cindy, do you one more? Do you have time? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yes. We've already got one more
Village.
feed up. Love to hear.
Sure. So we seek to support and bolster those left in the gap, where our municipality has created a gauntlet for small business to start, thrive, and expand. And we desire a merchant district with a pulse and hum that attracts businesses and the humans to support them. An environment that is clean, safe, and nothing short of incredible just by way of existing.
Wow, love that. Wanted to have these examples here in front of you because, even though all of you are focused on a downtown area, look how incredibly diverse your focus is. So we have looking at the diversity of the people who live in our community, being a voice, recognizing there's a new population and wanted to create vitality around that. The importance of the identity of the community of which you represent. And then what was this one? Bolster those left in the gap. I love that one as well. Another reason why we go through this exercise is because you have additional ways of describing your work. In addition to saying we're all about revitalization, because we heard that pretty consistently, right? You want to revitalize downtown, absolutely. But you go deeper than that through just these examples that we gave. The other reason that we want to talk about this is because when you're looking about how should we consider partnering or who should we partner with, look for those people who are also trying to deal with those that are in the gap, who are also looking at the identity of your community, who also might be giving voice to your community in a different way than you are. Those become natural partners for you all to start connecting with in your work to have even greater impact in the community when you get to that root cause or that theory of change that we talked about around those whys that you exist. But perfect. Well done with that. I also shared with Dominique, because we were in a group together, this is an activity that you all can keep in your toolbox at some point to do with your group or with your board. If you get to a point where you have a board, just to maintain that focus of, again, why do we exist? We have our mission, but let's do this further drill down with these 5 whys in our work. So consider that an exercise that you have. That will also just show that's an example of how CNE helps to support organizations. We come in and we have these sorts of activities when someone says, well, how should we partner and who should we partner with? This would be an example of an activity that we would go through to get that drill down of the impact you're trying to create. And then let's brainstorm who else is in that space with you and consider partnering with. Thank you. Thank you all for participating in that. And Kyle, thanks for giving us the opportunity.
Sure. Thank you, Cindy. Well, you know, while we have Cindy and Katie here, we have a few minutes before a break at noon. Is there anything that hasn't been said that would be helpful to ask? Feel free to pipe in. HB Dalton. Go for it. Are you still muted?
Sorry.
That's all right.
Forget that mute. Cindy, when you were talking about being able to share CNE as a resource with other members, with Buena Vista, we have our board and then we have our committees with members. And a lot of, you know, our board members or committee members are other members of nonprofits. So when we're able to share, are they able to use that as well? And again, like you said, these are going to be our partners in Main Street. So how does that work?
Yes, how does the great question with that. So it is an organizational membership. So those that are actually working with you as part of their Buena Vista work have access to the full CNE member benefits. If they come and they're saying, well, you know, I work with Buena Vista, but I also have a question about with this nonprofit, we would provide them some resources, but because you all are a member, we would definitely spend much more time with you as Buena Vista. So I don't want to say that we're not a resource to them. We will answer their questions quickly, but you all would get our undivided attention as being the member of CNE.
And they can always join, if they're part of another nonprofit, they can always join CNE as a member. It would just be at cost.
Right.
So membership is free for you all through our partnership with Virginia Main Street, but other nonprofits, we welcome them joining as members if they're seeking more in-depth support.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Good.
And I saw a few of you joined as members during the break. So, hey.
Yay! Yeah, the information for joining is in the orientation folder in the shared Google Drive. So all the directions on how you do that can be found there. So if you haven't already, take the time to do that over the next few weeks. Okay, I think JB Village, go for it.
Sorry, I just lowered my hand. Love all buttons. Anyway, I noticed that there is an executive director CNE training tomorrow. So I just wanted to make sure that I shared that in case others hadn't seen it.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Thank you. Yes, and that is something that is free for members and happens monthly.
A question about that. Is that for executive directors to attend the training or to talk about having an executive director with your organization?
That is for current executive directors, and it's for organizations with budgets under 500,000. So any current executive directors, it's a discussion group, monthly, free, with a dedicated topic each month for discussion.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
I get the feel. Oh, go on, Cindy. Yeah.
Just real quick, and we also recognize that there are organizations that don't have paid executive directors. So if you are a volunteer executive director, that also, you're in that capacity, you're doing that work whether you're paid or not.
Yeah, and half of the group, well, actually, gosh, 3/4 of you probably don't have an executive director. We have different stages from, you know, starting an organization, not even having their 501c3 yet, to everything in between, being a fully functioning nonprofit with staff. So, yeah. For the question that just came up, HB, the information for signing up is in the shared Google Drive for Mobilizing Main Street in the orientation folder. Anything else while we, oh, go for it, HB. Oh, unmute. We can't hear you, HB. Need to unmute.
Sorry
There we
about
go.
the mute again. We joined as members, but how do we join the executive director training?
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, yes. So you would, let me see, go in and you will have a username and password when you register. So when you register for that training, you'll enter your username, password, and it'll come up as you don't know anything. It's free. So just make sure you're signed in as a member when you're registering.
Cool. Thank you, Katie. And then Beverly, you just raised your hand, Beverly Pitzer.
Sure. Quick question. You mentioned that you don't necessarily have to be a nonprofit as an organization to join. So does that mean that if we have partners who are businesses like corporations, they could pay and join to get the resources to help their community?
So we are definitely nonprofit focused. So just want to be clear on how we'd be able to support them. So if it's, when you're saying a business, I am making an assumption it's a for-profit. So all the resources we have are geared towards the nonprofit sector.
Right.
Okay. But if there's value for them from the nonprofit sector support and they're, yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because we have corporations, businesses we work with in various ways. So I'd be happy to have a conversation if they're interested in learning more about what we do and ways to get involved.
Thank you.
That's good. And just to let you know, for those who don't yet have a 501c3, we'll be working with you on that. So just hold tight. We're going to have some resources and working with CNE on providing that technical assistance to navigate the, paperwork, etc. So there'll be more information to come on that. Well, it's 11:59, and I bet everybody's ready for a little bit of a break. Cindy, is there anything in closing that you wanted to say?
No,
Katie?
other than this, Katie and I are so excited to be working with you all and being part of this journey and continue to see us as a resource. The way that we think of the way we support you is through any aspects of nonprofit management work, whether it's finance, strategy, once you get to the HR questions, any of that space, we are a resource for you. If you have a specific Virginia Main Street question, of course, we will punch you to Kyle. Nonprofit management, the gals that can help you there.
Oh gosh, yeah. Center for Nonprofit Excellence is one of the most amazing partners to have. So we're so grateful that you, Cindy and Katie, can be here today. So, and just know that they're a resource to all of you once you do the membership stuff. Lots of online resources that you can check into. So no matter where you are in this journey. So they've got something that can assist you with that. But Cindy's right. If you got something very Main Street specific, feel free to hit up your program administrator that represents your community, and we'll get you set up with some answers. So, all right. Well, thank you, Cindy and Katie. I look forward to talking to you again soon. You're my security blanket in some ways when it comes to this 501c3. So, oh man. I'm Linus, and CNE is that cute little blue blanket right there in his hand. All right, so I think it's time for a 10-minute break. So let me go to that slide, and I actually have a timer on there. So everybody, go ahead and take a breather. You can, turn off your video, mute, those kinds of things, and come back in 10 minutes. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kyle. That was great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're going to step away unless there's anything else you need from us.
No, I think, Cindy, we're super for the rest of this hour. You're more than welcome to stick around if you have time.
Okay, great. Well, then if I do, I will mute and turn off my camera if that's okay then.
Yeah, that's fine. Good deal.
All right. Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, you know it. All right. Was that 10 minutes enough? Hopefully brought a little bit of lunch or a drink or at least something to our meeting to keep you refreshed and in sync. So how'd everything go? Is there anything in regards to the first hour? Thank you for your patience on a little bit of the technical issues. I know I thought I did a really good job sorting all you into the right groups, and I had a couple that were incorrectly paired. So thanks for your patience as we move through this stuff. But is there anything before we get started on the next section? Galax, you unmuted. Did that mean you wanted to talk about something?
No, sorry.
Anyone? All right.
Sorry. We stay muted so we don't have to walk all the way across the room.
I gotcha. Oh my gosh, I get myself so confused. I got two screens and I don't know where my cursor is, son, because I see it when I'm sharing and I don't know where it is. It gets lost. I mean, come on, technology. Speak for me, work for me. All right, so the rest of the time we're going to talk about vision and values, and we're scratching the surface. We realize really what a lot of sort of the final product depends on when you feel ready, that you feel that that these statements speak for your organization. Like I said, this is there's no test. The test is your impact on the community once you deploy these resources, once you deploy a strategic plan, once you start taking on these activities of reaching out to people and building that coalition, wherever you are in your Main Street journey. So, you know, I encourage you to engage, to feel your way through this, and make sure that you get the best experience out of it. That is the place where you really hold the reins and really getting something out of this experience. All right. So just revisiting, you know, these are those foundational statements that happen at the very top or bottom. You think foundationally, or is it the top? However you picture this whole strategic planning thing, the three most important statements are your mission statement of why, which we just discussed, and then you get on your vision statement where you're going. So we're going to spend most of our time next talking about the vision, and we'll dive into values a little bit. You know, we're just going to dip our toes in, and I'm going to give you some next steps. So refining these can happen over the next, you know, few months. But we will start getting into the next assignment. So your vision statement describes how the world will look if you achieve your mission, thinking aspirationally here and describe the ideal end state. So what role in the world do we want this organization to play? What is the idealized future state we want to create? And how will people live differently if our organization is successful? So here's a really good example. Downtown Our Town is the historic heart and soul of the region, the hub for equitable entrepreneurship and full of vibrancy, creating businesses that create jobs and build individual and family wealth. It's pithy. It talks in the present about that future state, but it's very tangible that people understand what you're working towards. So now is the time that I'd love to share a little bit of what you guys came up with this. And we fully recognize as this cohort, as your supporting group of forever learners, that you have a draft here. And we're not approaching this conversation as anything critical. And we're not going to dive into nitpicking your word choice. But we do want to, as a team, listen and think about these three different questions as you share your vision statement. Is the statement clear and understandable? So does it include the details that are necessary to fully understand where you're trying to go? Does the statement seem attainable? Is it too lofty? A little too out there that it's not going to connect to people? Or is there an opportunity to flesh that out a little bit more? Because it's not all that clear about where you're going. And does the statement give enough reason for hope so that people will be motivated to act? So there is a reason, there is a very visceral side of what we're doing here. Does that vision connect to the heartstrings? Are people going to get it? Is it going to motivate them to volunteer, to give their time, or even donate to give their funds in the future, or just, you know, participate in general and support you in this? So as you reflect on the sharing, what are those opportunities to best meet the criteria? Where might there be an opportunity to make some improvements on that statement? All right, so here's that moment where you're standing up in front of the class and you're sharing your creative work. We support you. So don't be scared. Be fully courageous in this moment and share with us so we can see where you are and understand where you want to go. All right, so I can randomly pick people, but I always like to start off with a little bit of, you know, self-motivation. So is there anybody who wants to share their work that they've done so far about their vision statement and share their vision statement? HB, you are like the participatory champion today, so go for it. I love it.
So we did kind of 3 possibilities. I'll just read one of them. It was Main Street BV to protect and improve our unique city and expanding community, to maintain a vibrant downtown that benefits the business community, loves culture, celebrates the arts, protects our natural environment, promotes local spending and tourism, and hosts top-notch events that give our city a warm feeling and a sense of place.
Zachary, did you get that? Do you want her to
That
read
is
it one more
very
time?
fast to
It
follow.
was. It was.
Sorry.
And I would say this, it's probably a good idea if you guys are able to go ahead and put your statement in the chat, and then Zachary can just snag it from there. Yeah. So everybody that hasn't gone just yet, if you know how to do that, go ahead. And if it's in a Word format, copy it and paste it into the chat. And make sure that you put your community name in there so Zachary knows what he's dealing with there. So you've got a moment to do that. So HB, when you get a chance, just go through that, and then we'll I'd love everyone's in. Oh, there you go, kid. You get in there. Awesome. Oh, this is going to make it so much easier. This is good. Thank you all.
Kyle.
Yeah.
I have a confession. So we got had our hands full with our mission statement, and so the vision statement we have is the one we had before this exercise. I don't know if you're okay. That could
no
maybe
judgment
be cautionary.
here. Yeah, Jeff, you were good.
Okay.
You know, work with what you have, where you are right now. Yeah. Okay. So Buena Vista. Would you read that one more time, HB, and then I'd love some input from the rest of the crew here, our teammates.
Sure. So I put to protect and improve our unique city and expanding community, to maintain a vibrant downtown that benefits the business community, loves culture, celebrates the arts, protects our natural environment, promotes local spending and tourism, and hosts top-notch events that give our city a warm feeling and a sense of place.
Mm-hmm. What are some thoughts that come to mind that could help HV take this to the next level? Is there any, what are your thoughts about the 3 questions? And Julie, you have your hand raised. Is that to comment on Buena Vista, maybe ask a question?
It was just raised for before.
Okay, so that's just sharing in a few minutes. Okay, good. So for everyone, if this is a vision statement, does it clearly explain where you're going, where they will be in the next 10 to 15 years, what this future state looks like? Is it clear? Does it seem attainable? Dominique, love to hear what you think.
It does sound very aspirational. So I think it does fit in that kind of future forward thinking. My first, or the thing that I first noticed was the words "to," and it sounds almost more like a mission statement than a vision statement. So rewording it as like protects and improves and maintains as something that, I don't know, is more and more active. And maybe not as direct, because the "to" makes it sound like something you're doing as a mission, maybe than as what you see yourself as. That was really my thing.
Dominique, that's a good suggestion. That I see what you're saying about it, possibly creating some confusion between, your purpose and what you're trying to accomplish. So, it could be that not only removing "to," but you're saying things like, downtown Buena Vista is a unique city and an expanding community that is vibrant and benefits the business community. Things like that.
I was going as far as rewording it and a description, like a vibrant downtown that maintains, protects, improves.
This is
city
your future state. Yeah, Dominique, that's great. That's good. Does that make sense, HB? Do you know what we're saying? Is that helpful?
It is very helpful, and I'm trying to take notes as y'all say it. So.
Right?
No,
Exactly.
I really like all of that. Thank you very much.
You got it. All right, Big Stone Gap. Who wants to speak for Big Stone Gap?
Hey, I will take that.
Okay, Ked, just go ahead and read it.
Yeah. Big Stone Gap will be thriving, inclusive, and sustainable community where residents and visitors alike experience the best of small town living with opportunities for growth, recreation, and connection.
Yeah. Thank you, Ked. What thoughts come to mind? Team, let's support each other. What do you hear there? Is it clear? Does it say where where they will be in 10 to 15 years? Is it attainable? Is it too lofty? Is it maybe could be a little clearer about what they're trying to accomplish and what it will be like? Does the statement give enough reason and hope? Is it motivating? Like, oh yeah, I'm down with that. I want to make that happen. What are some thoughts that come to mind? Maybe it's good as it is right now. Beverly, thank you. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's pretty broad. So it maybe taking out the "will" and making it seem like it's future state already, like it's already manifested in a way, is one idea. And perhaps put a couple of specifics in there that someone can really envision tangibly. I think there's some good broad aspirations in there.
Yeah, thank you, Beverly. That's good. Yeah, so again, it's bringing it into more of a present tense in your grammar. Big Stone Gap is a thriving, inclusive, and sustainable community. So as if you've arrived. And I think I see what Beverly is saying about expand on that experience a little bit about small town living. How could you bring in what that experience would be? What about it? What is that experience? What is small town living? What is that? You can talk to your neighbor. It's a walkable downtown. What are those few little details? And then I love that you bring in recreation and connection into that. Now, all this said, the sweet spot is for it not to be too long, that you want it to be pithy, short, and understandable, and people connect to it right away. Ked, does that make sense?
It does, but we struggle. Yeah, it is. We struggle with trying to separate the mission from the vision. And my first go around, it just sounded like I was putting too much in it, and my vision was a mission.
I
So
got you.
trying to pull back and broaden the picture for the vision. I think maybe I pulled back a little bit too much.
Ked, you did a great job. I think what you brought to the table is strong. We all appreciate that. Yeah, that is one of those things, and we have some good examples that I'll share as once we get through this piece. That people will know when it's on your website, when you're speaking it will say mission and vision, so they're going to know what it is. But the important part is in your mission statement to hit on that why you all exist and make that really clear, and then how you're going to actually move the community through to that vision statement. And then the vision statement is, what is this? So we've got a really healthy downtown on the water that fully connects to our natural resources, so that people understand and you can bring in senses to this so that people can almost smell where they are. They can taste where you are if you're bringing in the kinds of food. So you can get as deep as you want. Really, Fredericksburg, though it's a little old at this point, has a very short version, as you see in the example that I gave you, that's used on their website. But then they have a longer version that they've used in specific instances in their publications, so that people can understand a little more about where they're taking the community. Covington, how about reading yours?
What I did was I went ahead, since we were copying and pasting, I put, this is the long version, and then the other one was the shorter version that I came up with later.
Okay.
Old Town Covington strives to be the catalyst that revives our downtown and surrounding area and transforms it into a home where families want to stay or return to, where tourists want to visit and enjoy, becomes a hub of activity for its residents and neighbors to frequent and enjoy.
Yeah.
I thought the vision was hard because you do want to expand it, but then you want to narrow it.
Yes.
At the same time.
Exactly. Hey, it's, you could wordsmith this till you're, 1 foot in the grave, but at some point we all have to, draw that line so we can get on with actually making this future, ideal future happen. So I think this is a great start. So, Zachary just put it. Zachary, what's the inspiration from this? Is this something that you got out of chat and I didn't catch?
It was Cindy's great words that I copied.
Read it.
Cindy said, think of your vision statement as your North Star, and your mission is how you are getting to your North Star.
I like that. That's good. And thank you for sticking around, Cindy. We love it. For words of wisdom.
You're welcome.
Keeping that in mind, what might help Covington's vision statement to be more of that North Star? What are some thoughts around that?
The short version down, a couple down below, where I pared it down.
Yeah.
The catalyst that makes downtown Covington home to its history, residents, visitors, businesses, and future.
I hear you. I want to find it. So you put that in chat?
Yes, that's down lower in the chat.
The catalyst that makes downtown Covington home to its history, residents, visitors, business, and future. So the catalyst, but is that your Main Street organization is the catalyst?
Yes.
Okay. And so this is in that zone of being more of that purpose statement, that this is what you guys are, you're a catalyst. But what may be helpful is to think of, again, as that North Star about downtown Covington in its future ideal state is a home for its history, its residents, visitors, businesses, etc. So that you're being a little bit more present tense in your statement about what that future will be. Does that make sense, Julie?
Yes. Yes.
Let's see. Thank you so much. Let's see. Who did you start? You even started a second page. I'm going to flip through and see if there's anybody that we haven't spoken with yet. Galax, could you take a moment to read your draft vision statement? Are you still, I think you're muted now. Galax crew, are you frozen? Oh, I see people moving.
No, I'm looking for what I copied and pasted.
I did probably take you off guard.
Here I am. So picturesque, friendly town with a heartbeat that attracts all demographics to experience music, art, and outdoor adventures. Merchants, professionals, and community in partnership sharing our Appalachia traditions for economic growth. Families will gather to socialize while children play in safe spaces.
Ooh, I like that. What is it that really works as a vision statement in Galax's draft here? Dominique, go for it.
I think the first thing that stood out to me was exactly how picturesque the actual phrase or the wording was. It paints literally a picture. It's very, very visual of things happening and going on. And yeah, I think it's very visual. And
That's
I think
good.
that's what a vision statement is supposed to accomplish. So.
Yeah. And not only being a vision about the future, but you can see it. They're using words about, this picturesque scene. Already you can get a visual of what this is going to be. So bringing in those senses to that future ideal state. Thank you, Dominique. Susan Mack.
Well, again, it's Eric, but I was.
Oh, it is Eric. Yeah.
No, that's okay. But I was actually going to say exactly that, which is that when she was speaking, I could visualize what it was that she was trying to, how she was describing the town's future. I could seriously see it in my head. I can visualize it. I think that's great.
Mm-hmm. How about one more? Who is eager to get some feedback about the work that they've done so far that hasn't yet spoken? Is that a hand raise? I hear the bloop, but I don't see who it is. Oh, Tara, go for it.
We are still sort of muddling through this one.
Yeah.
So your feedback is welcomed, of course. So we've come up with downtown historic Clarksville, Virginia's only lakeside town, is a year-round travel destination with a thriving downtown, full buildings, beautiful streetscapes and facades, joyful people, and successful businesses.
I'm hearing it. Thriving downtown. Buildings are full, occupied. Beautiful streetscapes and facades. What is working here? Where are there opportunities that help it to better meet to meet the criteria? I like that you brought in joyful people, because here you are again, we're hearing some level of emotion. What will people experience when they're there? Joy.
You want to be able to feel that when you drive into town. We've got some lovely streetscapes, but it can be built upon to have all the time. And there's this element of when you are a tourism destination place, there's this assumption that the whole place shuts down between, let's say, Labor Day and Memorial Day. And the world has changed, and a lot of the tourist destinations are year-round with a flurry of activity. And we'd like to see that flurry of activity, whether it's February or July 4th.
Yeah. Is it possible to bring in, you talk about travel destination, Is it possible to bring in something that talks about the residents, or creating a home? Is that important to its revitalization? Really tapping into your local residents.
I think we already have that in an odd way, and we're as of the 2021 census, we're just shy of 1,300 people. But we just have, it's crazy to see how many cars we have going down our Virginia Avenue, which is our main street.
Yeah.
Yet our businesses are not thriving and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's have you heard of Roger Brooks? Do you know who he is? Roger Brooks International. He does tourism consulting, but he loves downtowns.
No, I don't know him.
Yeah. So he says something like, okay, your residents and the people that live in your community, that's the mashed potatoes, that's the heart. I'm massacring this, by the way, but what he says is that the tourism, the tourists are really the gravy that goes on top of that. It helps, they work together. But people are coming, your tourists are coming to visit because of what the locals have created. That authentic downtown that is only Clarksville, is only the downtown on a lake in Virginia, that the community has created. And that's really what's gonna even strengthen your tourism economy, is to have something that's authentic. So now, granted, you haven't yet done a market study with us or transformation strategy, so you haven't done a lot of community listening just yet. So that has yet to come, and that might help to really kind of strengthen what it is that your residents are looking for, what they want in that future state. So, but this is really good. Is there anybody that anything that anyone wants to add to that? Cool. It's already 12:40, and is there anything that hasn't yet been said that would be helpful in understanding, really getting your vision statement to its final destination? Where you're happy with it for the next 5+ years. Jeff.
So I know I had asked this when we had our sort of pulse check about 10 days ago, and right after that meeting, my computer crashed, so I couldn't look at my notes while they were fresh. I asked you this before, so I know you said that the vision and mission statements have the same DNA. Can they share words? I've had some difficulty envisioning how to keep them separate but related. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Think back to those questions. Yes, you can have some words that are repeated, but both of them serve different purposes. And so you're going to approach it in a little different ways. You're even probably going to have some of your values that come through in your mission. I mean, just as but Julie said, she worked backwards from her values and made sure that they were integrated. Well, it was you, Julie, wasn't it? Yeah, into your drafts. So I think it really comes down to that, is making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. One, communicating the purpose for your mission. Two, for vision, that it's that North Star. It's where you want to be in the next 10 to 15 years. There's a really great activity that's often used in strategic planning when doing the visioning, where it's like, hey, write your newspaper headline for where the downtown is in the next 10 to 15 years. And so that you're already getting into that, that space about, it's sort of the unseen. It's that hope about where you want to be, what this place will be like after all this great work that you do. So we can talk about that, but hopefully that helps to clarify some things. And then, is that helpful for right now, Jeff? I see you shaking hand, thumbs up. That's good.
Yep.
And then Uptown Partnership.
Hi, this is Liz. So I guess I would love, and I know this is going to be a big, kind of lofty, loaded question, but I think one of the things that our organization and community struggles with is that we've got a lot of differing opinions and thoughts on our identity moving forward. And I think that's steeped in a lot of competition and our history with multiple identities, both in textiles and furniture and NASCAR. You know, how and I know we'll learn this over time, but what are the best ways and strategies we can help engage and inform and mobilize, you know, our city and our county and our different populations and stakeholders around kind of a common theme and purpose? And I think that's ultimately what we're trying to achieve, is some unity and some focus, because that has been a major challenge in the past.
Yeah, I hear you. And everybody feel free, if there's anybody that has an idea. Dominique, did you want to address that? Sure,
Yeah.
Go for it.
Really quick, kind of the first thing that came to mind when you have different communities, partners, people all kind of having their own opinions on what it looks like. I feel like that's where master plans can be helpful, but then also not, because I know in a couple people's instances, you have a master plan, but then nobody really follows it. But still, there is that actual collaborative vision for what we want to see our neighborhood, our streets look like. And this is supported by the city and the public works. Also the partnership that's leading the discussion, and there has to be community input within the master plan process. So it kind of does that for you and gives you a picture. And then from that, you can kind of reference when you're constantly having those discussions, like, well, hey, this is what we decided in our master plan, like what has changed, what hasn't, but that has been established already.
Dominique, that's good. Yeah, so much of that comes from, look, when you've got politicians, you've got staff on municipality, those folks that really rely on public input, that's what puts them in their seat. The voice of the community will speak, you know. So like when in the community heart and soul process, which it might be helpful, there's a whole community listening side to this that you want to hear from as much of the community as possible. Be as to hear all the different voices, even the ones that have been marginalized. You want to make sure that they are part of this, and not just the strongest and the loudest voices that are always at the table. So that once you do a listening campaign like that, you'll start to hear some patterns and what's really what's most important to the community, what matters most to them. And when you bring that stuff into these statements, when you integrate that into your activities, you're ultimately going to be well received, because you're kicking out the controversy, because you've spoken to everyone. Petersburg, I know you're here. You just did a listening campaign. While not the breadth of a full-on community heart and soul process, it was rooted in that it was community listening to really hear from the residents about what they want for downtown Petersburg. Beverly, is there anything you can speak to what came out of that, and maybe relate that to what Martinsville is experiencing? And if Beverly can't do that right now, I think that the results of their community listening campaign may be really helpful. And I think that's something that we can share. Beverly? Oh, is that Ella?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, thank you, Ella.
I'm not sure if Beverly's on here or not.
Okay.
We're getting ready. I know it was a really helpful exercise, and we're actually getting ready to they were having them come back in next week to do a presentation to the community, because the enthusiasm for it, everyone wants to hear the results now, so, which is great.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
just like, you asked us our opinion, now let us hear, you know, let's see if it fits in with the rest of the community. Just a quick ad. I want to apologize for our lack of participation today. We're normally a lot more vocal, I think. our scribe. We've actually started a think tank group within our board, and we're meeting now. We met for the first time on Saturday, did all our homework, came up with epic things to report back to you. And our scribe, unfortunately, has had a medical emergency with a family member. So, anyway, so we apologize. I don't have the information in front of me, but we did do all this work.
Well, Ella, are you okay if I uploaded the results of that community listening campaign to this particular shared doc, or is it not quite ready for that? I want to take your lead.
I'm not sure. I would really need to ask Beverly.
Okay, so we'll hold off on that.
Yeah, and someone's asking about a think tank. Yeah, it was actually, you know what, it was, Dominique, it was basically, we planned to have a sort of board gathering. Not many people could come, so the people who came ended up having a great session. So
thank you.
It was a
thank you.
wonderful session. Really was.
Good. Excellent, Sergey. Well, I can't believe it's 12:48. And so I want to make sure that kind of talk about some next steps before I send you on your way. So thank you all for you know, being courageous, showing some vulnerability, and letting us see your draft in process, and being willing to make some improvements that'll really pay off in the end. So you're done when you're done, and you'll know. But keep asking these great questions, and keep sharing to help lift everybody and get them the resources that they need. So core values, we're not done. Obviously, we haven't talked in great deal about that, so we will revisit it. But you know, those are those principles that help guide decisions and actions at on every level of the workforce. And what you're really getting down to are the ones that are most important as your volunteers and employees make daily decisions, how you're going to behave along the way. And I thought this was a really great example of core values from Main Street America. We believe Main Streets are for everyone. At the core of our approach to revitalization is a commitment to creating places of shared prosperity, value, right there, equal access to opportunity, and inclusive engagement. So they're being inclusive. And they incorporate this into their work. Downtown Lynchburg Association, and here's a good snapshot of all three of those working together. I'm not going to read them all, but core values bring the energy, passion for a strong, vibrant, and welcoming downtown. Everyone is welcome. Dedication to inclusivity. Do the right thing. Integrity and excellence in all that we do. Be curious, flexible, and innovative and bold. Addressing the challenges and opportunities of the changing needs of our downtown. And then listen to evolve together. Collaboration for a stronger community. One way that can help you get to, because I know after talking with Colonial Beach that they had a whole list of them. You know, and here they are as a group. How do we get this down to, you know, 5? You know, something that's a little more tangible. It's not too noisy. You know, you remove the noise. I'll say that a lot. Is get down to the sense to that core. And this is a great activity. Florcane did this with the group in figuring out individual values. So this can help you. So if you fill in your top 10 core values, you know, from that worksheet that I had given you, you then take it through this little matrix and you compare one against the other. Ultimately, what's happening is you're comparing all of them, and you get down to a prioritized list of the ones that represent your organizational values once. So this whole thing obviously is cut off. I just wanted to show you, this is a great activity. This might be the next level for you. So I have already uploaded that to the first module of our training. So that's in there as a resource. Also, once you get down to those actual values, the core words, you might flesh them out a little bit to make them a little more understandable, sort of in context. And here's a potential next step. So you can use this simple formula. So what is that core value? Define it, and then what will happen? So identify the value, define it, and the results or outcomes from it. So you can use it and it's a little more understandable. So here's one, respect, treat everyone with dignity so that each person feels that they can contribute their best and most authentic selves. So that then becomes more of a statement, but it gives your value context. And then share that and see with your employees, your friends, your other board members, your task force members to see what they think. Ultimately, what you're doing is you're taking all three of these elements of a strategic plan, and you can put it into this dashboard that has been uploaded to your community file already, so that you can start building. And you can see below that there are spaces here for, well, once some activities start coming together, what's your strategies for how you're going to strengthen the local economy come together, and the kinds of activities that will support those. We're going to help you out with that later on in the year, so listen up. All right, so that said, at 12:53, before I talk to you about the next stage, is there anything that needs to be said to understand what we have going on here? How could you use what you've learned today to assist your organization in making future changes? What are we going to do moving forward? Are there any thoughts about that at this stage? And granted, we only have a little bit of time, but I want to make sure we hit it. Any thoughts about how you will use this, or just to kind of close out our conversation around these three different strategic plan elements? And it's okay. You're ready to hear the assignment and move on? I'll take your cue. All right, well, we can always answer this question when we get to the very end. All right, the next 30 days. All right, so these statements are going to ultimately help you with communicating what you're trying to accomplish. And you want to get to the point where you can talk to as many people in your community as possible, not the ones that are closest to you, not just the elected officials, but as deep into representing those missing voices in your community. So this is an example from Community Heart and Soul that they show that, hey, these elected officials here in the center, April and Isaac, look at all the connections that they have to Pete and Val in the civic arts, and to Todd and Nina in the youth organization. But there's Frank and David and possibly Beth that aren't connected to any of these groups. And so then their voices are being left out of the picture, both in doing any visioning, that they're not being heard, or participation in volunteering one day, they're not being reached. And so you have to take that extra effort and be very intentional to be able to reach out to those missing voices. So that's what we're going to be doing next, is sort of taking this to the next level of making sure that you understand who you will be communicating with, who you are representing. So next 30, this is what the homework looks like. So March 16th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. First, between now and then, revise mission, vision, and values until you are satisfied. Just, tinker with it until you feel like it has arrived. And bounce that off of your PA. However you want to do this, talk to your board, talk to volunteers, wherever you are in the process of creating your local Main Street program. Like I said, you'll know when you're done. Then register if you haven't already and attend the webinar, Inclusive Leadership and Organizational Capacity, which is the first 75 minutes of that meeting on March 16th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We have Dion Bowe. She is the senior officer, a senior officer at Main Street America. She leads urban Maine, and so she works with a lot of the bigger cities, but she comes from a place of really understanding local economies. And so certainly listen to that, because we're going to be talking about how you can be inclusive, how you can actually get out there into the community and hear those voices as everyone as much as possible, and get them involved in the process. And I see somebody has their hand raised. Let me get through the homework, and then I'll definitely address that. Oh, or Jeff, did you have a?
Okay, sorry.
You want to? That's okay.
I was just going to ask about that webinar. Are we, for that 75-minute piece, can we invite other board members beyond the core three that are involved? Okay, thank you.
Absolutely, that is open to the public. Like last time, the Mobilizing Main Street cohort will stick around. And we'll talk for that last 45 minutes. So we'll kick everybody out, and then just stick around to discuss. But yeah, all of our webinars are open to the public. So certainly share that registration information. You can go to our website or to our blog, virginiamainstreet.com, and you can find information about it to share with everybody. So then now you're going to start understanding your community a little bit more. What do you know about your community? What can you learn about it? So you're going to use a Google Sheet, Demographics and Community Network Analysis. It's in your folder to fill in the Demographics tab, to explore your community's demographics sourced through data.census.gov. So this is hyperlinked. So you can, it takes you right to the page where you enter in your community name, and you can look at your demographics, your racial mix, and your income levels, etc. And then begin to fill in the community network analysis. So this is something that you're going to work on over a long time and slowly chip away at it to get to know your community and how to connect with each of these different groups. So as a networking tool, it prompts your team to actively reach out to and connect with all demographic and community groups within your town. So this is what these look like. So it's just a simple spreadsheet. And so you're just going to be filling in this representation column here. In income and age and gender and residency, race and ethnicity, and really get to understand that snapshot of what your community looks like. And then this is this network analysis. It looks a little daunting, I know. Some of this stuff is you're not in a heart and soul. This is a heart and soul tool, by the way. This isn't necessarily, some of these questions you don't need to answer. And we'll learn more about this as we move on. But what you're thinking about is, in this demographics, what are some of those groups, organizations, communities that represent those demographics? And so you can fill that in. Are they a missing voice? Most likely at this stage, they could be. Is there anything special to note about them? You know, what's their mission? Are some character-defining characteristics about this particular community or organization? Are they on their team? Are they represented? What demographic groups? So the step 2, what demographic group do they actually represent? What are the group connectors? Who in your group or in your board or in your immediate sphere is connected to them in some way? So what you're getting to is, how can we connect to them? You're not going to worry about doing the actual connecting just yet, unless you're motivated to. But this is more of that canvas of who needs to be talked to. All right. So that's your homework. I'll download this presentation and I'll put it. Is there anything you want to ask for more clarity around this? And remember, this is strategic doing. You're doing and applying all at the same time. So we're doing a little bit of planning and understanding here, and then you're making commitments to some activities between now and the next time we meet. Anything? Any questions about what your assignment is about, or what it is? Okay. All right. So I'm just going to say this in closing. The Main Street Conference is in Boston, March 27th through 29th. Your focus is mobilizing Main Street. So if you can't get to that, that's fine. But if you have the time and resources, please do. This is what we hosted in Richmond in 2022. The Center for Nonprofit Excellence. Remember to do your membership if you haven't already. That's free under our Virginia Main Street institutional membership. Your Main Street America membership is done. We have you taken care of for 2 years. Courtney has worked with Main Street America, so that should all be set. As your membership, you should be able to do your membership discount if you're registering for Boston. And then this is one I haven't talked about yet, but nonprofitready.org. It's a free resource. You can set up a free account with them. This is a philanthropic arm of a for-profit software company. It is chock full of resources. How to start a nonprofit organization, how to develop a communications plan, how to write your vision, mission, and value statements. There's tons of stuff in there. So this is just another level of support for you all. All right, so I think we've talked enough. It's 2 minutes after 1. I've eaten into your lunch, no pun intended, but we're good. So any questions? Otherwise, you're welcome to go. Anything? I'll stick around. Thank you all.
Thank you, Kyle.
It's awesome working with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye.